The formation of minerals. What is required for a mineral to form? Well, that's what formation laws deal with. And there are two main things that determine what kind of mineral you get. The first is the amount of ions, basically what materials are available. It's ions because it's going to be starting off as a hot, molten magma, and at those temperatures the atoms typically lose one or more of their electrons, and that's what an ion is, an atom that has lost one or more electrons. So we're dealing with very hot materials that are in initially a liquid state. So what we want to know is, how much of each type do we have? And then the other issue is time. How long will it take for the material to cool and solidify? So both of those are going to be a factor. And the person who figured all this out was someone named Bowen, and so it's now known as Bowen's reaction series. And so what he looked at were those two conditions: what materials are available and how long would it take for something to cool and solidify. So in the case of the time, metals are going to solidify first. They become solid at a higher temperature, and so they are the ones that are going to form first. And so our materials that have metal in them are going to be the Ferromagnesians. And so you see that olivine is actually the very first mineral to form, and then it works its way down to augite and hornblende, biotite mica of the Ferromagnesians. The Nonferromagnesians are going to form later. These need cooler temperatures to become solid. And so it's going to take a little longer for these to form. So here we have, plagioclase feldspar, potassium feldspar. So essentially your feldspars. Muscovite mica, quartz is the very last to form. Because quartz is just silicates, and so it is going to need the very coolest temperatures in order to form. So in general, the first to form are going to be the darkest, and remember, green is the very darkest, is considered our darkest color, and so that's why olivine, which has a green color to it, is the first to form. And you're going to have the higher density materials because they have the metals in them, so they're going to have a higher density. And so then as you go down this cycle, you're going to then get to lower density and lighter color. The effect of time has to do with how fast the cooling occurs. So if it cools quickly, then you're mainly going to be getting the stuff that forms at high temperatures. If it cools slowly, then you have time for the others to form. Essentially what happens is, first you're going to be using up the metals. And then you're going to start using up other materials. And so by the time you get to quartz, all that's left is silicate and no other materials to combine with it. So if it cools quickly, you never get to this point of only silicate remaining. You're going to be making stuff in this early stage. So if it takes longer, you're eventually going to get to this stage of nothing left but silicates, and that's when you're going to end up forming quartz. So those are the factors that determine what kinds of materials form under different circumstances.